Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Five Door Media Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little different, and I want to sprinkle these episodes in every now and then. You know, on our show, previously, you hear interviews from some of the top home service professionals throughout the country, but I want to talk more about our team here at Five Door Media that are helping these home service business owners grow the impact in their business. And today, I'm very happy to have with me our senior art specialist here at Five Door Media, Joe Andrews. Joe, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. I'm
Thank
really
you for
excited to
being
start
here.
talking about it.
Absolutely, it's going to be fun. This is like obviously a more casual, conversation. But like, I also don't want this to come off to everybody as like, "Hey, look how great our team is. You should buy our services." Like, that's not my goal with these conversations. I want to have conversations with people on our team and like tell the stories of what you're seeing in the home service space, what you're seeing specifically in like the category of services that you help provide for us here at Five Door Media. You're a really cool person to start this with because I mean, let's be honest, like video and photos and media, it's a fun, really cool part of what we do here. And it's a unique position. And as the world keeps going on, that the video piece of marketing, the media piece of marketing, the photography piece of marketing just keeps getting more and more important. So I'm really excited to have you on and just kind of talk through this. But like before we get into what that looks like, I kind of just want to know what first drew you to the world of media, of photography, of videography, graphic design, and all things like new media?
So I would say probably when I was in college, I really liked graphic design and I started a t-shirt business, and that was like kind of my gateway into it. Uh, Creating social media for it, creating videos, creating photos. And that was back when I lived in New York. And I really fell in love with the creative aspect of marketing. And lo and behold, I moved to Indiana and I am here. And now I'm doing more video stuff, which is awesome. I love being able to tell the stories of our clients. I love the planning of it and making these videos fun, making them informational, really kind of getting down to what they want their marketing to do, what kind of story they want to tell.
Yeah, and you're so right too. It's really about storytelling,
Mhm.
right? Um, like rarely do we ever make a video for a client that is just a commercial. You know, it really we kind of try to get creative with it and like try to tell their story. So as you know, obviously you know, in the Five Door Media world, we work with like those home service specific companies. What is maybe one thing you've learned in the creative process that you use and you have that like kind of surprised you about working in that home service world? Like, what about some home? Oh, I just lost you. Are you there?
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Okay, I'll start that over. How has maybe I mean, because obviously we work in like that home service world here at Five Door Media. What is one thing that's maybe surprised you about the creative process and the creation of videos and photos and graphics and things like that for that home service world specifically? Like, what have you learned?
I have learned that there is so much grass to take videos and pictures of.
A lot of
Um,
grass.
and there is so much more to be creative. It's hard to explain, but when you do enough of the same type of work, you really learn to be more creative. You have to open the box, you have to kind of think differently. For example, like we have our clients that we do our retainers for, and we produce a certain amount of videos. And you always want to have those commercial videos like come in, get this price, our introductory offer. You always want to have those, but there you always have that second piece of it where you want to tell your story, you want to tell who they are as a client, and you can have fun with it. We just did a office replica video for a client, and it was one of the most fun things I've ever filmed. It gets you away from all the normal things you think about when you think marketing, and really kind of tells the story and their personalities of of the people that work at these businesses. It's it's lovely. I love being kind of backed into a corner We're like,
Mm,
oh, you have to take these grass photos, you have to take these grass videos, you have to take this, that, and the third. But like when you're really backed into a corner, you can think outside the box. You can make
mm,
these awesome ideas. You can think different for the most part.
yeah. I love that. I've heard stories from our clients throughout the years, as well as just other business owners, like that sometimes their best ideas or their best new things or ideas that they came up for their business is when they were like backed into a corner. So like that's funny that translates like to the creative side too. You know, we're like, oh shoot, I don't think I'm going to make payroll. I have to find something out. I have to figure something out. And sometimes like those really stressful moments where you're backed into a corner, that's when like best ideas come. I love that. So something unique about Five Door Media than maybe some other like home service marketing agencies is that we do work with like multiple different like sub niches of home service. You know, we have like clients in the lawn and landscape. Those grass photos you were talking about. We do have clients in like the cleaning world. We have clients in the HVAC world, and I've always said I think that's a big strong suit of ours because all of those sub niches that exist in home service, they all have one thing. They have a lot of things in common, but like the biggest thing they have in common is their customer base.
Mhm.
They all serve homeowners, right? Or they all serve people that live in a home. Um, what is maybe some things that you've learned about one industry that has helped you in another? You know, or like has helped you maybe be more creative in like another one of those sub niche industries? Because I think you're right when you were talking about it. Let's imagine if we only worked with lawn and landscape companies and like it is grass after grass after grass after grass, but maybe like some a cool video idea we had for that lawn and landscape company, we did something similar for a cleaning company too, and it just worked out well because and we wouldn't have known that if we weren't working in those multiple different types of verticals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't even say video, yes, but also photo. Just things that translate over, an over the shoulder shot of someone vacuuming. That could be the same over the shoulder shot of someone putting in irrigation in someone's yard. There's a lot of things that translate between the different industries within the same niche. And I have learned that the people who own these businesses, they do have a certain tendency to kind of align the same.
Mm,
So the clients that we speak to who do maid services and the clients that we speak to do lawn landscape, they have a similar way about them. They're more open to do more fun type videos, more open to think outside of the box, and the fact that it translates so well across the industries, I think, really helps us as a brand at Five Door because we may not do the same exact thing for one client, but we really do understand the clients. We understand their industry. We understand who they are and how we can help them.
I love that. Yeah. Um, let's get into strategy with like you know with video and photo. Let's get like into strategy. You obviously you watch a lot of video content, right? You probably see a bunch of photo content.
Maybe a little too
Um,
much.
maybe, but I mean that's not bad for the job that you have. What is maybe one thing that you could say, and this is home service businesses or maybe just any businesses. What's one thing that people are maybe not getting right when it comes to using video in their marketing?
uh, Boring. I would say you need a hook. You need something fun. You
Mm,
need to play around with it. I think you're always going to need your like here's your offer. Here's this is who we are. You're going to need those videos. Those tell your story. But if you are really trying to reach a customer base, you need a hook. Whether that is for example, one of the clients we had in the cleaning industry, it was can you clean this video?
mm,
There may not been a dead body. There may not been a tube from a boat. Like you got to keep it fun. You
yeah.
got to keep it engaging. Like people have emotions. Why? Like for example, the Lilo and Stitch movie that's coming out. Why
Hmm.
would you go watch that? It's nostalgia from when you're possibly a child, when watching your kids watch it, like stuff like that. It generates emotion.
Hmm.
When you are producing a video, when you're taking photos, you want that emotion to convey, whether that's a horror or whether that is happiness, sadness. As long as you can convey emotion through those photos and videos, that's when you're really going to hit the mark. Um, when you are just making content to make content with no strategy behind it, it's 9 out of 10 times it's going to flop. You
Yeah.
really got to pull the emotion out of your customer base.
There's and I don't know, I talk about this show a lot just because I'm a marketing nerd, but the show Mad Men, there's a Don Draper quote that says, advertising is simply a transaction of emotions.
Mhm.
Like that is what advertising is. So it feels like that's exactly what you're talking about. And so even more going on with that, one of the challenges of like modern day advertising is a lot of times we have to come up with this story, we have to come up with this concept that does have that transaction of emotions, and we've got maybe 30 to 60 seconds to do it. What have you learned about being able to tell a quick story under 60 seconds so it can make that Facebook reel, that Instagram reel, maybe that TikTok platform that a lot of these videos are going to be posted on? What have you learned about really talk about being backed into a corner with creativity? Tell some stories of like where you've really had to like tighten things up to get it to be like 60 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say probably it's really dependent on like a lot of the clients we shoot is mostly the owners of the business, and they are passionate about their business, and I think that emotion really does translate. um, a problem we have run into many times is oh, I wouldn't say many times, but a business owner will delegate that task to maybe another employee who
Mm,
is just there for a paycheck. They are there to work, they are there to get their paycheck, they are to go home with their family, like, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but they're not going to convey the same urgency, the same emotion, the same values as the business owner. So I really do try to get the business owner to be on camera as much as humanly possible, because those are the people who are really passionate about their business. And to tell that story in 60 seconds with someone who's monotone and really just
mm.
doesn't want to be there kind of misses the mark. So I would say that is a big part of it.
The person on camera, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but like is easily the biggest variable in all things production.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
right. And I
Yeah,
think people too, like you were saying earlier and joking, like you watch a bunch of video content, but like everybody does, right? Like I think
mhm,
that is the preferred method of informational consumerism, right? Like that's how people want to consume content and information is through video right now. So that's good because that's a clear path of strategy of what we should be using. You know, I know we make a lot of videos for people's ad campaigns and like the results are bonkers compared to like what a graphic used to do or something like that. But at the same time, that means people are more experienced watching video, which means they know what good video is and they have higher expectations for video. And I think that's one thing holds back business owners a lot is they know people have high expectations and they're afraid that they're not going to meet those expectations. So I talk to a lot of business owners that say like, man, I don't even know what camera to use. I don't even know what mic to use. What is lighting? That's the sun, right? What do you mean I need lighting? Like, what do you mean? What are some things that you could tell a business owner that maybe they're possibly overthinking when it comes to production of video and like really getting started to think maybe I should be creating some video content for my business?
absolutely. I think, I mean, you know me. I could go on for hours about the technical side of video
Hmm.
production, lights, and everything. But I think it comes down to go out and do it. Like, you're never going to start if you don't start. You're not going to start converting leads. You're not going to start making videos. You're not going to do anything if you never do it. So you got to start somewhere. Some of the biggest names on YouTube started with a their phone,
Mm.
and just went out and started. It comes in time. You're eventually going to get a better mic. You're eventually going to get a better camera. If you really are serious about this, you're going to start and build your way up. Nobody starts at the top.
Hmm.
Just for example, one of the biggest content creators in the world, Mr. Beast, he did his Mr. Beast game video, and I think there were 500 GoPros
Yeah,
across the
I saw
arena.
that too. Yeah,
It's insane.
it's absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone has a perfectly good camera in their pocket. And just some advice to photographers, videographers that I always give: if you're not ready to spend $2,000 on a camera, use your phone. You are not going to
Mm.
get a better camera for under $2,000. You'll get more variety in lenses and stuff, but I don't want to get technical with that. But use your phone. It's great. It does a lot. And your most important thing when you're first starting is get good audio. You can
Mm.
get very decent audio packs for 50 bucks.
15 bucks or even,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's some on Amazon, some lav mics, wireless lav mics that can click in that are nothing crazy.
absolutely. You can tell a good story with good audio and okay visuals, but you can't do it vice versa. If it sounds like a
Mm.
telephone line from the 50s, I'm not watching the video. So
Yeah.
focus on audio. That's what I would say.
There's a big part of that too. And this is something we've learned. There's some crazy stat. As important as audio is, it's only important to people that actually have their sound on. And like there's some crazy stat that like 80% of videos watched online are watched silently. So then that gets into that world of captions and how
Mhm.
important captions are. Because if you don't have captions, you're potentially losing 80% of the people that could be watching that video. Now, the other 20%, if it's not good audio, they're gone in a few seconds, right?
Yeah.
So, equipment is definitely one aspect that people freak out about, they stall on. But then, literally, just being comfortable on camera is
Mhm.
another, right? And obviously, we've done so many shoots throughout the years, whether it's for Five Door, our other agency, or other sister company, and it's not always us on camera. Like it's a client or it's a person we're interviewing or something like that. And there's definitely been moments where the video stalls because they kind of freak out, right? And
Mhm.
I think like I don't know, I need to learn the word because it's important, but like people have like a legit phobia of public speaking, but then even more so public speaking on camera.
It's like stage fright.
Stage fright. Yeah. Um, how do you tell me about how you can coach someone through that? So if there's somebody listening to this right now and they're like, I know, I get it. I need to be doing video content. None of my staff will do it. It's all on me. I am terrified of being on camera. What are some tips and tricks you can give them to just slowly get more comfortable?
Absolutely. So I think of it, I am awful on camera. I'm the guy who really knows how to do it, but can't do it for myself. But I will say the best part about being on camera is it gets better. The more you do it, the better you get. And I think as long as you keep doing it, it gets easier. And there's different styles for people. Like for instance, I'm awful on camera, but I don't think I'm necessarily that bad on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on what you are comfortable with. And also, if you are filming and you are editing and you have this whole thing, just understand that nothing is set in stone. Memory is free. If you don't like a take, you can delete it. You can do another one. You can cut around words. There's always they call it TV magic for a reason. Like
Mm.
The Godfather wasn't shot in one shot. Like
Yeah.
that took many people, many tries, many takes. You can always redo. You don't have to sit there and be like, "Oh, I did that. I'm done. I'll just be comfortable with it." If you really want a perfect shot, do it 72 times. You'll get there eventually, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It really is. There's a lot of things in our world that are like this, I think, but like it's a muscle. It really is. It's a muscle that the more you work it, the stronger it gets. And I liked how you said too, like there's so many different types of content as well that maybe you're just more natural on another. So like that analogy could be every sport isn't for every person,
Mhm.
right? Like maybe you just are naturally great at football or basketball or something like that. So like find that sport of types of video content. Maybe it is talking head videos with a teleprompter. Maybe it is a podcast. Maybe it is like deep long storytelling. Maybe it is like vlog style. Like there's like I mean we could sit here forever and just list off how many different
Absolutely.
types of content. Try them all, see what you're most comfortable with at first that you just feel like, "Oh, you know what? I could do that. I'm pretty good at that." And then go down that path. But at the same time, it's still a muscle after that. You still have to practice your craft. You have to be consistent. I've told people a long time, one of the best ways to get comfortable on camera, every home service business I've ever talked to, they all have like a giant list of like FAQs that they've gotten. And like that business owner knows those questions. They know the answers like the back of their hand. Sit down in front of a camera. and answer those FAQs because you're
Absolutely.
confident already. You could say it in your sleep, the answer. You can say it with confidence. The only difference is the variable of the camera. So you could that's a good way to like really get comfortable on camera quick is just record those FAQs and shoot. Some of those might actually turn into content you post. You know what I mean? If
Absolutely.
you're good with them, but yeah, I like that a lot. There's so many different styles of content. Find one that you're most comfortable in, and a podcast is like this, right? Because we're
Mhm.
just talking. Like there's nothing being performed right now. Like there's nothing. You know, we're just having a conversation, and a lot of people love that for a podcast. And one of the best parts about a podcast is you can have an hour long conversation. And you can get like 20 micro pieces of content off of the longer content. There's 3 weeks of content for your home service business. You know what I mean? Off of one podcast. I love that.
Absolutely.
So tell me about one of the services that we provide. And like I said, I don't want this to come off as like salesy, but I think some good stories could come off of it. Is this thing called travel media?
Mhm.
So we've been doing this for a few years now, where one of our clients across the country will hire us to fly out twice a year normally and get 6 months worth of video content in 2 days, right?
Mhm.
It's a blitzkrieg of an event. Um, Tell me about like maybe the top three things you've learned as a media professional by getting on a plane, traveling to meet people you've never met before, getting very intimate and like close with them for 2 days, creating content with them, and then also the aftermath of that. Like,
Mhm.
how has that grown you as like a creator in ways maybe you didn't expect?
Well, I didn't realize until this that I was such a big foodie because traveling all over and eating food from different states, and it's a
Love that.
blessing. It's
Perk of the
great.
job. Love
Perk of
it.
the job. Um,
I will say every time the day you're back after every like travel media trip you do, that is the first thing I hear from you. He's like, "Oh, I
it's
had
like
the
the
best
the
tacos of
the,
my
the, the
life."
best
Or
tacos, the
you
best
like you'll
pizza.
send me I get like a food update text when you're there like you were just in Texas, right? And
Mhm.
like your favorite pizza shop has a new owner, so you're like, "I'm so bummed. It's not the
Yeah,
same. They got a
it's a
new
crying
owner."
shame.
I love that.
But as far as the job goes, what I learned is traveling with gear is not easy. um, Figuring that out, learning how to kind of navigate the whole TSA situation of that, having like batteries that can't go past a certain limit. There's a lot of things that go into traveling outside of just the actual media creation part of it.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting thing that I didn't even really remotely think about until this started. I would say another one is the people. You don't really realize who your clients are until you spend 2 whole days with them, and
Mhm.
just that interaction, finding out, like you find out people's favorite foods, you find out about their family. Like, we have a client in Denver, and they invited us into their home, and I met their
Oh wow.
kids and their wife, and just all super sweet people. And it turns a client into like a friend almost. Like, you really do care about the content you're making for them when you're there. Because in my position, I am the one traveling, um, producing the content, and then also editing the content. So I know from start to finish, this video is like my baby that I can give to them.
Mm,
And it's just I love the people. I love the environment. And it's just a good time overall.
love that. Yeah. So on those trips that you go and then the brand strategist or like the account manager for that client, they go on those trips too. And
Mhm.
I always do love hearing the stories from either you or that brand strategist who are like, oh, it was so cool to see them in person, because we're on, Zoom calls with them or long phone calls, like long conversations about their business and how, what we could be doing to help grow their business. But they're like, it's just so cool to actually meet them like in person. I love that. Tell me a story where you maybe something unpredictable happened and you had to figure out how to get around it. I have a story in my mind
Oh
of this is
boy.
the one I wonder if this is the one you'll tell. But like, because I mean, whether it's weather or someone got so nervous they like ran away and didn't want to be on camera, or like maybe lighting issue or whatever it is. Tell me about like a story where things got crazy and how you were able to turn it around.
Oh god, it's almost every trip. Nothing you can
Welcome to life,
always
right? There's
yeah,
always
you
something
can
unexpected.
you can always plan for things, but you never know where it's gonna go at the end of the day. I don't think we've ever had a travel client where we had every video planned and then something didn't have to change. And I have no idea what you are talking about. I am so curious of what you're thinking.
I'm
Can I have
talking
a hint?
about it's drone related.
Oh,
So
okay.
we get down to the client, also in Texas, and it turns out they are extremely close to an airport that we
Yeah.
didn't know about, and we weren't able to fly the drone.
Yeah, and that happens more often than not, especially
I
with
don't think
the
the FAA is listening to this podcast, by the way. So if we had to
they're
bend
they're
some
listening to
rules,
everything. They know
oh, you're
everything.
probably right. They're probably right. Yeah,
No, I would say with the drones, I think it's like the problem is the few bad apples, I think, ruin it for everyone else. But
sure. Yeah,
there's becoming more and more flight restrictions, more and more areas where you cannot operate a drone, more and more. Um, you got to just be on the lookout for things. And we now have an app to make sure we are within regulation, make sure we're not taking off in bad areas, which a client did request one time. And thank God we had the app. So I didn't leave in handcuffs.
there you go.
But yeah, just the drone stuff is crazy in general. But we also had another client where kind of again things don't go as planned. They had one meet the team video that we were doing because we always love showing
Yeah,
clients and again making it more personal, so the storytelling. And they had one guy who was super bummed out that he couldn't be on camera, and we
that's
were on.
rare, by the way. Rarely do we have somebody bummed that they can't be on
Oh
camera.
yeah, that
Usually
never
they're bummed that
happens.
they have to be on camera. Yeah,
Oh, they were super excited. We are like their worst enemy in the beginning of the trip, and then they love us
yeah,
by the end.
yeah.
It's about making them feel comfortable, being like, again, like the director, making sure that everything that they are producing, they are comfortable with. Like,
Hmm.
just maybe that's reassuring them that we can cut it, reassuring them that like everyone struggles on the first time. Yes.
Yeah.
So that one person who really wanted to be on camera, we were actually on our way to the airport about to leave. I don't know if you remember this story.
I don't think I do. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
and
I'm
yeah,
with you.
this was
Yeah.
like 2 years ago. And they were like, "We really want to be on camera." And their business was probably 15, 20 minutes away from the airport. So we swung the car around,
Oh
got
my
that recording
gosh.
real quick, and then left. But it was just, again, nothing goes as planned, but we want to make sure the clients are happy.
I
So,
love that. Yeah. And the employees of our clients too, you know,
yeah.
well, it's also like I was saying, like if you have somebody excited to be on camera, you don't waste that opportunity. You get
Oh,
that person on
absolutely.
camera,
And
right?
then
Yeah.
at the end of it, we get there and he was like, "Oh, I actually don't want to be on camera." I'm like, "What? We were
Oh,
so excited for you and you were so
yeah.
excited for us." And then, but no, he ended up by the end of it, he was like super excited to see the final product and he was really about it. It's just things never go as planned, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a lesson we've learned too, just over the years. We do so much to try to plan as
Hmm.
much as possible. And you know, life happens. There are too many
Yeah.
variables of life that way. So, like I was saying earlier, I mean, we have so many ad campaigns that we're running for clients um, recently, and like we've switched to, hey, run a video ad instead. Let's see like what that does. Do a little testing with it, right?
Hmm.
And I don't think we've ever ran a video ad and it didn't perform better than what like a link or like a graphic ad for lead gen was doing before. What do you think it is about video? Like other than I always say like in TikTok in 2020 when we were all quarantined at home, TikTok just completely changed expectations of how people want to consume content. But at the same time, video still had to do something special. Like
Hmm.
what do you think it is about video content that can make such a big impact for a company?
I think it all started with Vine. Vine was the original,
6 seconds, right?
that 6 second
How thankful are
attention.
you? Like we have 10 times that now. Like you didn't do this
Yeah.
job when you had imagine if like Vine stuck around and we were running ad campaigns with 6-second videos.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I could tell a story I don't know about in 6 seconds,
It's
but
wild.
um, no, it all started with Vine, and I think that is what created the whole TikTok short form Subway Surfers under a video
Mm,
content. Like the attention span of goldfish is like you really gotta hook the viewer in the first 5 seconds. Now, again, telling a story in 5 seconds is hard, but you can
yeah.
definitely make a good hook in a quick turnaround like that. I I think video content is where it's positioned now as the future. There's no backtracking at this point. We're not going back to still graphics in the way that they were before. Of course, you're going to always have your photos. You're always going to have your graphic design stuff, but video has really taken over as the priority on the top of consumers' minds. And just being able to catch that attention where it is, whether that be on YouTube Shorts, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever that demographic is, and specifically enough where that company wants to reach that demographic is key. And I think
Mm.
video is going to, I mean, it already has, but it's going to be the platform of choice for almost everything.
You mentioned the word future, and that obviously makes me think of certain things. One of them being AI. And obviously, I mean, we use AI for a lot of our processes, systems, a creative crutch every now and then. You know, our team is using AI. We have like a ChatGPT team account now. I mean, like we are very intentional about trying to stay with modern technology. Video wise, where is AI currently in the world of video? Where do
Mhm.
you see it maybe going in the future? And then how does someone like a video professional like yourself, how do you see yourself using AI in the future? Because video, I feel like, is that one of those last things that AI hasn't figured out like extremely well. Like
Mhm.
at some point in the video, the bodies start going like this, right? Like, you know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just a
the
weird thing
hands.
going on. Yeah, the hands that like everybody always has 9 fingers or something like that. But like, where do you see it potentially helping you in your career as like a videographer or a creative in the future? Where do you see it going?
I mean, there's a lot of implementation of AI already in this space. I think there's two sides to this story. I think if AI ever starts entirely doing video, we're all doomed.
Mm,
Nothing is going to be organic. Nothing's going to be original. No one's going to know what's real. So I never really want it to hit that level. I think using it as a
obviously. Yeah.
tool. Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
think I. It's just that creativity of the human being. Um,
Yeah.
if you are strictly making your marketing 100% on AI, I think it's terrible. But to use AI as a tool to
Hmm.
grow is really where it shines the most. For example, and kind of back to your previous question, is we had audio that messed up on a specific video and it captured in camera but didn't record on our external recorder. Um, they have an AI program that can help recover that lost sections of the audio, and that helped a lot, like using that
Yeah.
as a tool. They also have another tool that can put cuts in a video timeline to match
Yeah.
to music, so it knows where you should insert your b-roll, it knows where you should insert some sound effects. I
Yeah.
think those kind of tools are really making video more accessible for the average consumer, the average customer, and it's just making the entry into video production much easier.
Yeah. I think along those same lines, I think Canva did something very similar just for like the graphic design world like
Mhm.
years ago. At Canva, I think they made think about like what the world was like for a college student or a small business owner trying to make social media graphics. Think of what that was like pre Canva.
It was Photoshop and a lot of hours
Photoshop
learning.
or Paint, honestly, like just, you know, like super basic programs like Microsoft Paint or like whatever it was. And then think like what Canva really did. Canva changed the visual world forever I think. And I think it
Mhm.
was exactly what you just described. They changed the barrier of entry for people to be able to create things graphically.
Absolutely. And I
AI is potentially doing that. Not now, we're not there yet. But like you said, maybe that's going to make the world of like creating videos easier for people too.
absolutely. I think that, just like you said, Canva is really opened a lot of doors for businesses to make their own posts and stuff.
Yeah.
And on the other note is because it's so easy, it kind of helps. It kind of hurts, but also helps. Like graphic designers got to step it up. So, like
Yeah.
if you're using your professional programs like Illustrator and Affinity, and you're really doing some like advanced motion graphic stuff, you really got to step up your game because if someone
Yeah.
can just drag and drop an element, that's that's a lot.
It's true.
So,
You're right. And where, I mean, the biggest creative will always be time, or the biggest
oh
variable to me will
yeah,
always be time, because like as much as Canva has changed and made it accessible to create something like super quality, it
hmm,
still takes time on Canva to do that. And I think a lot
absolutely.
of people use Canva, they just find a template, change colors and font and word, and they call it a day. But like to create something like truly great, it still takes time. Um, Another thing you've mentioned on this little conversation we've had. You've said it a few times, and I think it's really important to like spend some time on it. Just the use of hooks with
Mhm.
videos. When you are creating a video, you are so true when you say people have squirrel brains when they're scrolling the internet, and all you have to do is this, and you have another piece of content. Like it's instant
Yeah.
gratification to like give up on a video, right? It's so easy to do. Let's talk about that. What
Okay.
what makes a good hook to you? What are
Uh,
maybe some that you've seen, maybe some that you've used? Talk about how crazy important that first like 3 to 5 seconds is.
in our world, very. In the YouTube space, you could skip things after 5 seconds. So if you're not producing something that people want to watch in 5 seconds, they might not even get to your logo. Never mind your
Hmm.
website, never mind your slogan. So I think that hook is very important. And a lot of it has to do with, believe it or not, sound design. Your visuals can be great, your audio can be great, but like having a certain sound design can really hook it in. A whoosh, a bell.
Mm.
Do you know that backwards bell sound
Yep.
that it goes?
Yep.
That's actually a service bell played in reverse.
Got it.
And I think a lot of that hook is really drawing the attention, whether that's visually, visual, audio, or sound effect. And once you get into that space and you learn how to make a good hook, you can really tell a better story because
Well, you have an opportunity to tell a story in general, but if you don't get that hook, you lose the
yeah,
opportunity to even tell the story.
yeah. So that's, I mean, that is kind of my hook example. It's hard to explain. There's so many different hooks out there. I mean, you have your
Yeah.
audio cues, your video, your sound effects, your offer
And they
hooks.
they they run dry sometimes too, where this people will use the same one, and
Yeah,
it loses its effectiveness. I will You mentioned him earlier, but I think Mr. Beast is the absolute best at this. And a lot of times, Mr. Beast's hook actually doesn't even happen in the video. Mr. Beast, his best hooks on you, and we're talking YouTube, not like scrolling on TikTok or like maybe
hmm,
on Facebook or Instagram. We're on YouTube where there is a thumbnail and a video title.
hmm,
And like he takes advantage so much of that tiny little real estate of a thumbnail and the real estate that you have with a video title, that what the video is going to be because in the title he told you what it's going to be. In the video thumbnail he told you what it's going to look like. So the first 5 seconds he's already doing the thing in the video that he told you that video is going to be about. Right? Because he
absolutely.
knows even taking that 5 seconds to re-explain what the video is going to be about, that could lose somebody. So the title of the video is not something obscure. It's always like 5 people in a ring. If they don't leave, they win $500,000. I'm like, all right, I know what that video is about. I'm going to watch that. So like even sometimes the hook of a video is not even in that 5 seconds. Like it
Yeah,
is what happens beforehand, right?
hmm,
And a lot of people, they spend so much time and energy creating that piece of content that they kind of forget too that thumbnail, that video title, the copy of the post, maybe those could play giant roles on why people would actually watch your video too.
Absolutely. They and Mr. Beast, he has one person who is dedicated to make thumbnails. That is their
Yeah,
entire job, is to make a little photo that we think you're going to click on. I watched a kind of like a mini documentary on YouTube, but Mr. Beast, some of these Eric, like a lot of these big
yeah,
creators, they have a person specifically for thumbnails and will go through 6 or 7 revisions just for that thumbnail, because I, as like a lot of small businesses are, that may be a difference between 100 or like 200 views, but like in
yeah.
terms of them as big creators, that could be millions of views,
Millions.
millions. And
Yeah,
that turns into Google ad dollars. Like you could be losing out on $60,000 worth of revenue just because your thumbnail may have the word on the left side versus the right side. It's a
yeah.
whole science.
Imagine that being your job. I don't know. I always like to tell this story. My dear grandmother, who is passed now, but that lady had no clue what I do for a living. And like so much so, she was introducing me to one of her friends one time, and like she literally just said, "This is Drew. He fixes computers." Like that's what she explained my job to be, which could not be farther from the truth. I just went with it though because she's the sweetest lady of all time. But like
Mhm.
imagine being at a family Thanksgiving and where someone says, "Oh, Steve, I haven't seen you in a while. So, what kind of work are you in?" And you have to describe to them, "I make professional thumbnails for a YouTuber that gets billions of views." Like, how do you describe that occupation to someone where they're just like, "You're kidding, right?" Like, no, that's literally all I do is make
No, my job
thumbnails.
is to make tiny pictures. That's
I love them. Tiny pictures that grab a lot of attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. Like even my
What does their
family,
LinkedIn page look like? Like, what is the job title? I
the
want to know those things.
graphic designer of tiny pictures.
There you go.
That's what I would
Yeah.
make mine.
I'm in graphic design. Let's just say that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to wrap this up. And you know this because you edit these podcasts a lot. I like to end the show with a quick takeaway that someone they got to the end of this podcast, there maybe we've talked them into getting into the world of video for their marketing. What is one thing they can do immediately after this podcast with between like 5 and 10 minutes, one little takeaway, one little action they can make to start heading in that direction to get into the world of video? Where do they start, Joe?
They start by creating. You're never going to start if you don't start. And you can do anything simple. It could just be telling about your special offer. It could be tell a story about who you are as a company. You have an iPhone and you have access to your notes. You can literally read your notes off your phone while you're recording. Just get out there, do. It gets easier the more you do it.
You're, you're never going to start until you start. Put that
Yep.
on a t-shirt. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for being on this episode of the Five Door Media Podcast. Thank you for all the work that you do for our clients across the country. I know you're making a big impact for people maybe that you'll never meet and doing really good work for our home service clients across the country. And I know they appreciate it, and so do I. So I also appreciate you guys for listening and watching this episode of the podcast. Like I said, a little different. I want to do these every now and then. I want to have like the staff on, have them tell their stories and give their insights on maybe some things you guys can learn in the world of advertising, marketing, and branding for the home service world. Should be fun. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.